Hello and welcome to Daily Current Affair Booster. And if you're preparing for IAS, CDS, FCAT, ADA or CAPF, this video is gonna be really helpful for you because here we discuss all the important news snippets from The Hindu, Indian Express, All India Radio and PIB. So today's date is 23rd November of 2018. So let's have a quick look at all the important articles and the quiz questions that you have to discuss today. So the first news is about the Sentinels Island. So this basically island is found in Andaman and Nicobar. And recently this was in news because one of the traveler known as John Shaw was actually killed by a tribe of Sentinels. So what we need to understand as a tribe here in Andaman and Nicobar is you can take off any example, say Jarawas tribe or any of them. So what is common among them is they actually live in a very primitive stage here of human civilization. That means they don't have any connect to the outside world. They don't understand the technology which is happening right over here. And also we need to understand here is it is okay for them to not know anything what is happening in our world because they have been living in a primitive stage ever since. And also we need to understand here if we try to expose them with our lifestyle, what will happen basically is they will counter a lot of diseases here because they are not actually resistant to the kind of diseases we are resistant to. So this is something which you need to understand. And there have been a lot of recent cases also where actually these tribe people actually went for say drinking water from a polythene or a plastic cover. So what happens is they recently got the diseases and we cannot actually monitor them properly because they usually live in forest. So if we talk about from the government point of view, they are actually not directly involved with them, but they are monitoring them so that in case they need help, they can come to any hospitals and hospitals will provide them all the medication that is required to them. Following which, talking about the tribes which are available in Andaman and Nicobar, they are protected under Andaman and Nicobar Protection and of Aboriginal Tribes of 1956. The whole purpose was to actually protect the tribe from the outside exposure. Also, we need to understand they have their own tribal culture here, their regulations here, so we need to respect them while we are at their places. So also there is something known as restricted area permit. In these places, there are usually foreigners cannot actually enter without proper permission. And also if you talk about if you are from say any other country other than Bhutan, you need these permission. And if you are by any chance of origin of Pakistan, then you will definitely not get any of the permits over here. So this is something that you need to know. Following which the question is, what was India's rank in 2018 IMD World Talent Ranking? So we basically have four options here and the correct answer is 53rd. So this ranking is basically dependent or basically have these parameters which will actually judge how talented our people in India are. So it can be based on the infrastructure or basically the IT infrastructure that is getting developed or maybe any artistic. All these will be calculated and then it will be decided how much talent do we have. So we were ranked 53rd. Following which, this is about ease of doing business grand challenge. So we have already discussed about ease of doing business. We have understood that our points have been increased by 23 points and our right now world ranking is basically 77th, and that's a really good thing. But what have been said in this particular challenge is there are still a lot of lacunas which have to be solved. So they have invited all the applicants who can solve these problems, say electricity problem, compliance problems, all these. If any company or any startup can solve using their technology, they are all welcome in this particular challenge. So the next question is, what was the theme of 2018 Universal Children's Day? So this was under the UNICEF. So you have basically four options here and the correct answer is children are taking over and turning the world. So as you can see on the picture also. And the next question is about the Bhudaar. So as you understand, it is somewhat similar to Aadhaar, but the difference being Aadhaar gives you an identity to a person, but Bhudaar is basically an identity to a land. So you are giving a unique identification code to a particular land. What is the use of it? So you can easily actually track a particular land by giving it a 11-digit unique figure and say if you want to pay for the land revenue, all these will be done in a very transparent way once you have coded every land with a particular number, and all the corruption that used to happen giving the land revenues can be reduced. So this particular Bhudaar scheme was launched in Andhra Pradesh, as you can see in the picture. Followed which we understand that the APEC meeting happened in Papua New Guinea. So you need to understand the basics of APEC. So the headquarters is in Singapore and it was founded basically in Australia and Canberra. Also there are basically a lot of countries, and what you need to definitely understand here is India is not a part of APEC. So APEC is basically Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation here, and it's not necessary for you to be basically a country. Even if you are basically an economy, for example Taiwan, it has a separate economy altogether. That's the reason they also participate in APEC. You can see all the APEC countries over here, and you see here Pacific region, that's the reason, Pacific Ocean here, and you can see US is a part of it, and the China here. So on the meeting, what was discussed here is all about trade war which is happening. Also, China, what they did was they were actually promoting their Belt and Road Initiative as always. But what you need to understand here, there are two parties here, one who are supporting US and the other who are supporting Chinese. So there have been a lot of allegation against each other. So all these things happened in the APEC meeting. So the next question is, India's first national institution of interfaith studies will be set up on which of the following states? So you basically have four options here: Jharkhand, West Bengal, Himachal Pradesh, and Punjab. So on the occasion of 550th birthday of Guru Nanak, so this particular interfaith studies national institution will be actually formed in Punjab. This is something which you need to remember. Followed which, this is the news about Institution Innovation Council. So basically this is an innovation cell which will be developed in AICTE, and the whole purpose is to promote innovation as we understand this. And this particular is actually, this particular Institution for Innovation Council is launched by Ministry of HRD. So this can come as a statement for any of your UPSC exams saying recently Institution of Innovation of Council was the news. So which was the implementing body over here? It can be some Ministry of HRD here, or basically Ministry of Science here. All these will be in your options. So you need to just take MHRD. Following week, our External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj was in recently visit to Laos. So Laos, you can see on the map here, it's basically a landlocked country over here. You can see the adjacent country which are touching here. So you can see China here, Vietnam here, you can see Thailand, Myanmar, and Cambodia. So just understand Mekong River passes through Laos, and also it's a landlocked country, and the capital is basically Vientiane. Following which, this is news about Famida Riaz. So she is basically an Urdu poet and a human rights activist also. She was born in India and was basically moved to Pakistan, and she is very famous for her Urdu writing, and also she was a human rights activist. So she was in news, and in your CAPF or CDS exam, they can give you the name and they might ask you which field was she related to. So just remember the name Famida Riaz. And the next question is, the researchers at which of the IITs have developed a smartphone based sensor to detect adulteration in milk? So you basically have four options here, and if you see the image itself, so these are the people who have actually developed it. They are from IIT Hyderabad. So this is something that you need to remember. Following which, the Kartarpur Corridor. So what you need to understand here is that Kartarpur is a place in Pakistan. So they basically have this particular shrine here which is very much of great importance to the Sikh people, because that's the same Gurdwara, that is Gurdwara Darbar Sahib Kartarpur. So this is the place where actually the Guru Nanak actually stayed for the last phase of his life. So that's the reason it's of very much importance to Sikhs. So what we can do is the Punjab people from our country can move to or move and visit these particular shrine. So for this, Pakistan has agreed to actually build a Kartarpur corridor. This will be basically for 4 kilometers across the international borders. And the next news is about the HAL Tejas. So they are going to develop new facilities, production facilities in Nasik, so that we can actually roll out more and more Tejas. So this is something that you need to understand, that the new facilities will be developed in Nasik so that we can actually improve and increase the production rate. Following which, the last question is, which of the following countries of under 17 boys Subroto Cup International Football Tournament 2018, which country won this particular tournament? So you have basically four options here, and the correct answer is Bangladesh. You can read about here, it's basically Bangladesh. Krida Shiksha Protsahan wins the 59th edition of Subroto Cup. So they basically won this particular cup. So that's all for today, guys. Let's just discuss everything that we studied. So we discussed about the Subroto Club. So this is basically named after the Air Marshal Subroto Mukherjee, who was basically very much interested in football. Following which, we discussed about HAL's new facility in Nasik, followed which Kartarpur Corridor, then the sensor to actually find the adulteration in milk. Then we discussed about Famida Riaz, and then we understood that the location of Laos, because our Ministry of External Affairs is visiting Laos. Followed which, we studied about Institution of Innovation Council, which is launched by MHRD in the ASATE. Then we understood the India's first national institution for interfaith studies in Punjab, followed with the APEC meeting which happened in Papua New Guinea. And then we discussed about Bhudaar, which was launched in Andhra Pradesh, and the theme of UCD, that is Universal Children's Day, was Children are taking over and turning the world. Followed which, we understood about the challenge known as Ease of Doing Business Grand Challenge, to invite all those startups who can actually give solution so that more and more company can invest in India. followed which we discussed about the world talent ranking, that was basically 53rd, and following which we discussed about the Sentinels, so which is basically an island in Andaman. So that's all for today, guys. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and share it as much as you can. Thank you and have a nice day. Jai Hind.